May 1994. 4 years after his release from prison, Nelson Mandela stands before his nation as South Africa's first democratically elected president. But beneath the hope surrounding his rise, the remnants of decades of apartheid are dangerously smoldering. His country, still divided, is on the brink of implosion.
In 20 months of increased South African racial violence, more than 750 people have been killed.
There were an awful lot of right-wingers who were threatening war, who were organizing for war.
Former soldiers, armed to the teeth, they were fighting to preserve white rule.
It was the worst possible tension you can get between black and white people.
No one will silence the white nation.
As the violence intensified, Mandela rallied international support to bring the 1995 Rugby World Cup to South Africa, determined to use the world stage to unite his nation. But he was taking a risk because rugby and the South African national team, the Springboks, had long been associated with the very worst of the country's history.
In South Africa, rugby was the white man's game. I hated rugby, I hated those ones who were playing rugby, and I hated the Springboks even more.
Rugby is a sport of brute force, and as such, rugby in many ways symbolized apartheid oppression with which black people were being kept down.
But now the man called Madiba by his followers was set on making peace with his former oppressors. He would become a rugby fan, but convincing black South Africans to stand behind the long-hated Springboks would not be easy.
You see this cup that I'm wearing? I ask you all to stand up behind them because they are our pride.
Here is the man wanting us to reconcile with these brutish people who have humiliated us for ages in our own country. I wasn't going to be persuaded even by the great Madiba to support the Springboks.
As the World Cup approached, Mandela repeated his message of one team, one country in townships and villages across South Africa. Moved by Mandela's support, the Springbok players visited the Robben Island prison, where Mandela had been jailed for nearly 3 decades.
You go to the cell and you realize he sat here for how many years? And I remember James Small standing in the corner and there were tears running down his cheeks.
It was quite amazing to experience just for a few moments what a man experienced for a lifetime. You didn't really understand how big this whole thing was until we saw that.
That also made us realize that, you know, what we were doing was a little bit more than just playing a game.
That's the end of the game. Well, who would have believed that South Africa would beat Australia, world champions?
The underdog Springboks, newly inspired, began a magical run through the tournament.